that. So it's pretty common to impact trick those cash walls, but we see nobody with impacts, and the impact tricking, like I talked about earlier, can be especially strong with a Hibana ban, so I'm surprised to see Air Force Gaming not taking advantage of it.
Yeah, and actually, I think we have Bandit over here planning to do a little bit of Bandit tricking on the Jacuzzi wall, but Pizza Time gets an opening kill on the Nyx, and that's a Zombie off the board, so that Bandit tricking is going to be a little bit easier. So that's very, very unfortunate. That's Pizza's first kill of the game, but he hasn't died yet, so he still has that infinite KE going for him.
Reloading! Cover me! Loading mag!
So yeah, we've got players of POG Champions starting to make some good progress on the CC and cash side of the map. They've got some players out there on the windows, and you can see that things are already getting pretty uncomfortable for the defenders here at Air Force Gaming, and you can really see why the other sites are generally a lot stronger. But Air Force Gaming is able to get a kill there from Pizza Time to get into the man advantage.
Yeah, and now we are in back to a 3-3. So this is going a little bit better. Pizza finally shut down. He was doing really good at that taking out 2, but you know, eventually losing his life. Still has that 2.0 KD so far going in around 3. But 3-3 now, Shrimp, Flixer, and Ziv. We had the Thatcher finally getting brought, which I'd like to point out is very interesting. I was kind of making comments about would like to see that, and finally we do see just that. Now, we do have Flixer actually just dropping really, or logistics, I'm sorry, just going literally aggressive, but too aggressive, as that was not droned out, and he gets taken out for it. Twisted gets a freebie because of that. And again, man, POG, you guys, you have, at that point, you had 5 drones on the board you could use, and you weren't using any of them. Plenty of drones in the pockets of POG, but they're just not making use of those drones. So now we have a 3-2, back to man advantage on Air Force, and time is on their side of only 20 seconds on the clock. These players of POG, these last 2, Shrimp and Ziv, they gotta make something happen, but they failed to do that as Twisted gets another freebie into the round. It's all up to Shrimp in this 1v3 situation. He's on ace, he has a great gun with that AK-12, but he doesn't have time. He does have diffuser, but it doesn't really mean much when he doesn't have any map control. It looks like he's gonna stop, he's gonna go ahead and take a breather again, think about what just happened, and really try to fix this as they lose their 3rd round in a row.
Yeah, a big round there for Twisted playing in Logi, and definitely lack of droning there, like Trevor mentioned, and then he was really able to take advantage of the audio cues. We had the one player drop hatch, which obviously is pretty easy to hear, and then another player shimmy his way in prone from construction into Logi, which just makes a ton of noise, and you could see that that Twisted very clearly heard exactly where those players were and was able to swing and get pretty easy kills out of that. So now we'll see them go back to CC and cash.
Yeah, and man, last time they lost this site very decisively. And again, you know, I thought if we were going to see our first round pickup, it was probably going to be on that gym side defense. But hopefully POG Champions now can kind of figure out what went wrong and really make a change to that. We do see that they're bringing a Thatcher now, and considering Mute is the only wall denial on the board, they should be able to get this wall open very easily. Should be able to get any wall open very easily, so long as the Ace and the Thatcher can survive long enough to make it happen, which shouldn't be hard for at least that CCTV wall. But either way, we're gonna need to see them pick something up. Hopefully they can make an adaptation here to get something going in their favor.
Yeah, and over on the Air Force side, we see the exact same lineup, and it looks like the same setup. So obviously, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But one thing, to be fair to POG Champions here, it's not good to be down 3-0, but with the bans, the Maverick ban, the Hibana ban, this is definitely, Clubhouse is already a little bit of a defender-sided map anyway. It's started to go more and more attacker-sided over time, which is a pretty normal thing to happen as maps are in the comp pool for longer and longer. But Hibana and Maverick ban, that's definitely some very defender-sided bans, and we could expect a little more defender-sided than usual Clubhouse. But that Hibana, I'd say, is definitely going to have by far the biggest impact on the basement defenses compared to CC and Gym. So if you're POG Champions, you'd really like to get a CC win here, and then, you know, you kind of expect that basement is going to be really rough, but if they could at least come away with 2 rounds here, I'd be feeling okay about this.
Now, we do see these players having a little bit of trouble. They're getting some openings made, especially in that garage wall right now. But they're still having trouble elsewhere, trying to get their footing, really just trying to get into this map to really get things cleared out. It looks like Zoffy is making some ground, but Ziv is taking out, there we go, there's Thatcher off the board now. Now, we do see a pretty decent amount of drones in these pockets. But, I mean, it doesn't matter because they still lose the fight. We gotta use those drones quick, guys. Sayo is taking out Nyx. Nyx is already so low on health because Kronk almost got a freebie on him. That's a third kill of the round for Sayo. And he's just playing this, and he just keeps getting fed bodies. They just keep feeding him. Boom takes out Kronk, but now we're in a 2v4 situation with Boom having 1 HP, and there he goes. That 1 HP is gone. Guess it really didn't matter. He's got shot in the head by Cream. So, Flixer alone, 1v4. And he doesn't have Diffuser now, and now he does. There we go. And they almost catch him off guard for it because he's trying to challenge his player as well. That keeps getting freebies. It looks like they're going to get another freebie, and they do. Sayo's 4th kill for the round as he gets fed 4 kills.
Yeah, a great example of just how strong that catwalk position is there with Wamai, making it very difficult to frag him out or anything, and just keep on peeking different angles and play up there, not having to worry about projectiles. Then he can really do a ton of damage, just like Sion did right there.
You know, I would really like to see POG really step it up here because they're really failing on their adjustments. And I think the biggest thing is they're having so much trouble stepping foot into this map. And it's a lot of that would be changed by droning. We're seeing them constantly die, and they'll have a lot of drones in their pockets, which, by the way, you can see if their drone is actually loose or if it's in their pocket based on the highlight of the little circle next to their name, which we can see if you look at the little drone indicator. You see 5 drones are white, 5 are gray. That means 5 of them are in use, 5 are currently pocketed. If you see an X, that means that drone is gone. But we're consistently seeing a lot of drones honestly still in their pockets that they're dying with, and that would make a massive difference in this game.
Yeah, and even if you're an entry fragger like Ash and probably getting droned in, you still want to get those drones out of your pocket, placed in areas where your teammates can watch them to cover flanks. So definitely want to see some better drone use here by POG champions. One interesting thing here is that they brought Thermite on top of the Ace and the Zero with the secondary hard breach. So I'm really curious to see if they're still going to try to get that kitchen hatch open. It looks like they are still really focused on kitchen, and oh no, losing the Ace right away is going to make this more difficult than it already was.
And this is a situation I'd like to point out. Last round, we actually saw Kronk doing a little bit of trying to pick up an early kill through the garage warehouse door, aiming around warehouse spawn. And so you have to expect that. When we saw it that last round, you got to expect that they're going to try to do an early aggressive play, and they did just that. I mean, they took out Zid. There goes the Ace, beginning of the round. So that is something you really had to expect happen. And maybe if you had a drone kind of watching some of those openings, you could have seen it. You could have been prepared for it. But instead, we're down 2 drones, and I guess one of those players is down a drone is dead anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, now we have, I think that was Kronk there in the garage playing a bullet hole, looking to see if he can get another kill here on the stock door. But it looks like POG champions are really focused on the kitchen right now, and I'm gonna be surprised if they're able to get this hatch open.
Yeah, we've already seen Impact Chicken come out and taking out Nyx's hard breach, and Sayo taking out Nyx. So I mean, there's obviously a lot of trouble already, and Nyx is putting up these cameras for flank watch, and one which we did just see get taken out by Sayo, I believe. But it doesn't matter as Boom gets taken out by Twisted. So now we're in a 5v2. They're still halfway through the round, and maybe they can get something here. Sayo taking some damage, Flixer taking some damage, and finally Sayo is shut down by Flixer on that rappel, which is a really nice angle through that fence, which is really hard to get shots to for both parties. But it's definitely going to be harder for Sayo, considering you can't really see much. So either way, though, I mean, we're back to a 4v2 situation. You know, this is something we've seen all game, this 4v2 situation. Air Force will give them one because they'll do something a little overly aggressive just to kind of pattern KD, and they'll lose one, and they lose another. As Kronk, what were you looking at, man? Flixer gets a freebie.
Yeah, and so this round has just become a little more winnable for POG champions, but it's still going to be really tough in a 2v3, and they actually were able to get kitchen hatch open, so that's actually surprising to me. But yeah, I guess the Wamai with his 2 impacts was the only option that they had for the impact tricking. So between the secondary hard breach charge and the 2 thermite charges. They were only able to deny 2 of those 3, but having the kitchen hatch open is definitely helpful, but things still aren't looking very good for POG Champions here with 15 seconds remaining.
Oh, and they're trying to push down. Looks like we have a kitchen and a main stairs take now. Flixer's kitchen's just gonna hot drop, and he does, and he gets taken out in a very hot way. Flixer's up the board. It's all up to Shrimp in a 1v3 situation. He tries to just run through the hall, but he has no hope and he has no life because Twisted takes him out. That is another very decisive round for Air Force Gaming. 5-0 right now on map 1.
Yeah, and so now they'll, I'm sure, be going back to gym and bedroom, and this is a round that POG Champions really needs to win. If they can't pick up this round, then they're going to have to go 6-0 on their defense. It's already going to be tough enough to go 5-1, but like I said, these bans are pretty advantageous to the defenders, if you ask me. So 5-1 isn't, obviously it's a tall task to come back and force at least overtime when you're down 5-1, but when the map and the bans are very defender sided and you're switching over to the defending half, it isn't totally unsurmountable.
No, this is definitely something where I hope we see POG really just amp it up on their defending half. I would like to see them take this round. You know, I'm rooting for both these teams. I'm really excited for this game on the road, but I would like to see POG take this round. I don't want to see them go down 6 rounds on their. No one wants to see that. Unless you're Air Force, obviously you love to see it. But this is not a great start for POG right now. I mean, Air Force needs 2 more rounds, period, and they win this in regulation time before overtime has a chance to happen. So this is very rough for POG Champions, and you know, I said it last time that this is going to be the site that they can round on. I mean, gym bedroom, this should be the site, but we saw Air Force win it last time.
Yeah, and we do have a couple of changes to the lineup here, which is the first time we've seen Air Force change up their lineup. They ran the exact same basement lineup both times they defended the basement, same lineup both times they defended CC, but here on the gym they're actually taking out a Mute and a Rooney and instead bringing Goyo and Echo.
Now we do see the players of POG. Looks like they're getting very aggressive in their push, and they're really trying to step up the time here, which is definitely something they need to do, especially when they're down this bad right now. They're going to have to amp up a lot. They're really got to put some energy to kind of breathe some life into this attacking half. And it looks like they're trying to do that. They're really trying to speed it up. They're really trying to make something out of this round. Maybe they can catch Air Force off guard. Maybe sheer aggression is what they need right now.
Yeah, and it looks like they've already got the jacuzzi wall open, so that's some good progress right there. Air Force does have a player playing below in the bar, watching up through that gym hatch, but I think he's now rotating through the basement, so not sure if he was droned out there or what exactly the situation was, but I was wondering if POG Champions was going to catch that or if they might look to hop in that gym window and give him a freebie.
Yeah, and we see a little more delay going back in on this attack now. They're slowing back down halfway through the round. They've got a lot of things opened up, but they also have Nyx's head opened up by Sio. So we're in a 5v4 now, back to the man advantage for Air Force, and this is a situation where Air Force gets that man advantage, they make things work with it. Now, we almost see a loss taken from Air Force, but instead it's taken again from POG as Flixer goes off the board to Kronk. So, man advantage, very securely now, in the way of Air Force. 5-3. POG needs to get aggressive. They need to make some play here to try to even this out, because this is not good for them. This is not a situation where they can wait things out. They have to speed it up. They have to take some people out. They have to equalize this.
That play on the punch hole from Dirt by Kronk was pretty huge for Air Force Gaming. It was starting to look like POG Champions is looking pretty good in this round, starting to get pretty comfortable, ready to go execute onto the site, and then he started to nip away at the ace of Nyx on from that punch hole and really got POG Champions distracted, and Sio was able to swing out and get a free kill as they were all looking towards Dirt, and they're able to translate that into a win for the round and go up 6-0 before switching to attack.
A very decisive win at that. Ziv did manage to get one for his time. He took one out, but he got traded back very quickly, and that's something I would like to point out again. Air Force, they're playing for those trades, which is what you need to do when you're in any kind of competitive format. Even in ranked, I don't care. Play for trades. You know, you don't lose one and not take one back for it, and that's exactly what they're doing. And even when you're up a man, that's just even more reason to play for trades. Because if you could play for trades when you're up that man count, you can keep things going in your favor. You always just snowball that side. Because if it's a 3-2 situation and both teams just keep trading off, the team with the 3 people wins by default. That's just how it works. It's just man count, it's math. And that's what's happening here. POG is not managing that trade situation. Hopefully on their defense, they can change that up as we go to CCTV, and they're really, really going to have to step this up.
Yeah, this has definitely been a very rough one for POG Champions. As we look at the kills here, Flixer is on top for POG Champions at 4 and 6, and when that's your top fragger, that is never a good sign. On Air Force Gaming, Scion is 11 and 2, and I'm sure switching over to the attack and playing that Ash isn't going to slow him down any either.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, with nearly a 6.0 KD on Scion, like, I mean, that's nuts. That's great. But you have to remember, there were rounds where I believe it was Sayo on the Wamai. Let me go back to this, and it was Sayo on the Wamai. He got a 4K. They fed him kills on the Garage Catwalk. And that's been a lot of this. I mean, he's been getting fed kills because they haven't been joining things out. Now, I bet we're going to see different. I hope we see different, but I bet we're going to see different from Air Force on their drone usage.
It's interesting that POG Champions brought a Wamai, but they're not going to have him as the one playing Catwalk. They actually have a smoke with the FMG9, which is not something you see very often, but it's definitely something that can be a good play occasionally if you've got the mute with the shotgun to make the rotates, and a good spot that you can smoke in and let him some heads, and that's definitely the case for that Catwalk. But Wamai could obviously be very helpful there as well with his projectile now.
Yeah, and we see the Thatcher use coming out very, very quickly, and you know, POG, they didn't pick Thatcher in their first starting round. It seemed like they had a little hesitation on that. Air Force, they saw Thatcher on the board and said, oh, we can use him, we're going to use him. And that's what they did. They brought him immediately. Now look what's happening. Mute was the only one stopping these walls from getting open, which means nothing to a Thatcher. So now these walls are open very, very fast and very, very easily. At that. So all being open, POG is getting obstruction and CCTV walls getting open now. And POG isn't doing really much of anything to slow this down. I mean, it's halfway through the round, and Air Force is really just reconstructing this map, but Nyx reconstructs his pizza time as he takes him out, but Sayo answers back and takes out Nyx. This is what I talked about. Air Force playing for trades very, very well. They don't lose one without taking one, and that's what you want.
Yeah, and we're down to about 1:10 here, and we already have Air Force Gaming. They've really been knocking on the door of the site for about 30 seconds already, and now they're starting to really pick apart these players on POG Champions. And it is not looking good for POG Champions here on Clubhouse.
Yeah, and it's all up to Flixer now in this 1v4 situation, and it's a 1v0 as Air Force takes him out, and they take map 1 7-0. And I really, really want to say, great job there, but I don't have to talk about how decisive that map was. All I really want to mention here is that was a situation where I think Air Force played great. I think they did a great job. And I think more so POG did a bad job. And I hate to say that. I hate to be negative here. POG barely touched their drones. And on their attacking side, that I really believe made that entire half for them. And it's really unfortunate to see that.
Yeah, and obviously Clubhouse is a very strong map for Air Force Gaming. We saw them pick up a 7-2 win against Lycus Academy, who's
or is like his grandma needs him. Yeah, he's joining me. Or we gotta get him on the call.
Okay, and we do see it looks like Boom is actually going to have to do a sub. Apparently he has something going on, personal reasons. And so they're getting a sub pulled in. Hopefully we can get this going kind of fast. And maybe that's what they need, Maybe they need a last second sub to kind of pull this through. And I hate, again, to be that negative person, but we need to see something massive happen here. And POG is starting attack every single map, assuming they make it to map 3. And with how that last map went, it's hard to imagine that happening. I mean, Air Force has got to be feeling themselves. Air Force has really got to be feeling themselves right now.
Yeah, and obviously Clubhouse was Air Force's map pick. Clubhouse is a very strong map for Air Force. We saw them beat Lycus Academy 7-2, and Lycus Academy is a very good team on Clubhouse. But still, even if you are hoping to win your own map and aren't wanting to lose the other team's map, but can understand if you do and can accept that, really don't want to see a 7-0 loss. So, uh, yeah, if you're POG champions, you're really hoping that the change in maps going over to your own map can make a big difference, and hoping that this sub can make a big difference as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot I'd really like to see change there. Going into Cafe now, Cafe is also a pretty strat heavy map, just as Clubhouse was. And with Air Force starting on defense, I mean, I really see this as a situation where Air Force has another opportunity to pick up a lot of rounds at that very beginning, assuming POG has trouble picking up steam here, and just really getting that early lead and just snowballing that through. Because that's a lot of possibly what happened there. I mean, once they got that 6-host start on their defense, it was already snowballed. It was already a situation where they had so much momentum, so much energy from their defense that going into their attack, all they had to do was ride it out. And, on the side of POG champions, that had to hurt. That had to be really, really just mind killing, really get in your head. And I would like to think POG, they're a pretty confident team. They've got good energy, they've got good personalities. But that's still, it doesn't matter who you are. Getting 6-0'd is never a good feeling.
Yeah, and if it's 4-2, 5-1, and especially on a defender-sided map with defender-sided bans, you can really go. There's no reason to get down here. We're fine. We can go 5-1 on defense just as easily as they did. But 6-0 is a whole other story. You have nothing to feel good about at that point. So that's very tough to bounce back from. But yeah, like Trevor said, Clubhouse is a very strat-heavy map for teams like Dark Zero and SSG. It's often known as Dub House, and those are very, very strat heavy teams, very good strategic teams. And so it's no surprise to see a very structured and strat heavy team like Air Force Gaming want to go to Clubhouse. But Cafe isn't a map that I wouldn't throw in that category either. It's a pretty strat heavy map, and you see a lot of success on that map from a lot of those same teams that you see do really well on like a Clubhouse or a Villa or an Oregon. So uh hope to see POG champions make this a lot more competitive. We always want to see a map 3. So I would like to see POG champions come out and win this one and force us to go on to our third map, but definitely want to see at least a much closer game than that 7-0 we just saw in Clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see POG pick up something here. I would like to see this go to map 3, and maybe them just pick up their steam. They have their sub coming in now. Now I do believe their sub is actually changing out some skins to make sure he doesn't have to get um, just assisted out of his life. Because essentially that's what happens when people wear skins they're not allowed to use. They just get TK'd, start the round, and they have to carry the round on without them. Either way, though, he's getting his skins fixed. Going into this first round on this, and again, POG champion starting attack, I really, really hope more than absolutely anything that we see POG champions grab a drone out of their pocket, throw it into. I don't even care where they throw it at this point. They could throw it at the people. That would be some use of drones. Use it just to try to fake somebody out and then try to just refrag the drone that's flying through the air. At this point, that would be a better use than nothing. So, use something, man. It's intel. It's your strongest tool as an attacker. Get with it.
Yeah, and it looks like we do have everybody ready to go, so we're gonna load into here, and like Trevor said, we once again have POG champions starting on attack. So the first ban will be
Oh,
we actually
we
do
actually
have the
need to
sides wrong, so we might have to back out here and restart this game.
yeah, give us 1 second. I don't think we're going to see any bans come out. So, going to back out of this. Yeah, there we go. We're going to back out of that. We're going to get that fixed for you guys. Give us 1 moment and we'll try to get this back in. But either way, it's really. I just want to see this go different.
Yeah, and this is a map that's definitely so far this season been strong for both of these teams. We've got Air Force Gaming playing 2 cafe matches. One was a 7-3 win over Wolfpack Esports, and the other is a 7-5 win over Alps Gaming, who's the team that they will actually meet in the final if they're able to win this or the Villa map afterwards, even if POG Champions is able to win on cafe. POG Champions played on cafe earlier this season in a casted match against Dalhousie Gold, and they were able to win 7-4. One thing that I remember about that match, if I'm not mistaken, is that a lot of the defenses on both sides, the kitchen defenses didn't really extend horizontally like you usually see teams do at this level. They really had a lot of trouble with their top floor defenses. It was a very attacker sided cafe, if I remember correctly. So that might be part of why POG Champions, actually, it was Air Force's choice this time, but POG Champions did choose to go on attack first in every map in this matchup. But yeah, we saw a very attacker-sided cafe the last time POG Champions played on it. So curious to see if we get the same thing here or if that had more to do with their opponent than it did with POG Champions.
Yeah, now we're getting all these players back in the lobby. We're just waiting on a couple more now, just one more now, actually. And everyone is in. We're going to get the side switch. We're going to get this game going. Things have been corrected now. And again, I'd like to state, as Justin just stated, Air Force Gaming is starting defense here. POG Champions starting on attack. Hopefully this is a good game. Hopefully POG Champions, during that little breather they just had between the maps, they kind of talked it out and they said, hey, what's going on, guys? Because this is not what we need to do. Let's not go out like this. Let's really pick it up. I would like to see them on cafe really breathe life into this game and really, really just get some energy here. I don't care if they have to crack open a bunch of 5-hour energy drinks and, mix it with Red Bulls. Just crack them open, pour them down, and get going. Please don't do that. It's going to kill you on the inside. But either way, they need to figure something out because this has been rough.
Yeah, and we know that POG Champions is definitely a better team than what we've seen so far here. And obviously, we saw after that first map that Boom had to leave because of some kind of family emergency. Obviously, first and foremost, we hope that everything is okay for Boom and his family. But aside from that, maybe there's a chance that he was really distracted throughout that game, had something personal going on. And, if you're kind of left playing almost 4v5, then we see Mr. Caster see what happens when we try strats there towards Trevor. So we'll see if POG Champions can start to play a little looser, look to run and gun a little more again, and come out on top here on Cafe.
Now, to be fair, he's making a joke at me because I make jokes a lot about POG not using strats, which, in my defense, POG is the one that said that in the first place. But either way, I have made a lot of comments. POG doesn't run strats, and if you don't have strats and you have been running all season and it's been working out for you, don't start, man. Between seasons, maybe figure it out. Otherwise, if monkey is your thing and it works out for you, don't change that in the semifinals. Get take it to the semifinals and play how you've been playing. So hopefully we just see them play like monkeys because that's where they're strong. Monkeys together, very strong.
So we see another Habana ban just like we did on Clubhouse, but this time we do see Thatcher ban, so that's no surprise there for sure. Maverick was the second attacker ban on Clubhouse, and that's definitely much more of a typical ban on Clubhouse than it would be on Cafe. So we're going to see Air Force Gaming start here on the top floor, and like I said before, if I remember correctly, the last time we saw POG Champions on Cafe, they really had a lot of success on their attacks, and I'm not sure if I remember correctly, they never lost a top floor attack the last time that they played Cafe on a casted match. So we'll see if they can keep that going here against Air Force Gaming and start to claw their way back in this semifinal matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the defender lineup we're seeing from Air Force is, I would say, pretty standard. All of these defenders really make sense to me. The part that's most interesting is we have 3 intel operators right now. Jaeger, very normal. You always see him. Mute. Again, you're going to need somebody. You're probably going to see him put one of the jammers top red wall. The rest are very likely probably going to be used for things like just stopping drone, get that information going. But we have a Valkyrie, we have an Echo, we have a Maestro. That is 7 cameras, not counting default cameras, that we could place around this map. That is very, very massive. So that is, the information game from Air Force right now is huge. And I am going to be very excited to see what they plan to do with that information.
Yeah, and bringing that Echo there for Kronk, probably one part of that was allowing them to bring the mute and get some drone denial and some breach denial instead of bringing smoke, but the Echo is able to bring a deployable shield that we see they placed there in that pixel corner in Christmas that's almost always such a huge part of any top floor cafe defense. And so yeah, that let them get a little bit more flexible with their lineup, put the shield and leave out the smoke, bring a jammer, which we already see jamming that first drone going there into Cigar.
Yeah, we do see a lot of these yellow pings going on, and those seem like, yeah, they're trying to ping these mute jammers, trying to get that top red wall open, and it doesn't look like they're gonna have too much trouble doing that. Yeah, Ace is getting that wall open very, very fast, and we have a couple roamers below, actually, that are probably gonna be very pivotal. I'm curious if this Christmas hatch is open. They're actually playing around train, and they're starting to get a little more aggressive now as they're also playing around meeting, and they actually have a hole, thanks to that ash that has been made, that they're actually going to use their advantage to help fight back the top red. And they're fighting the stairs as well. All of this from train and mining area. So this is going to be very, very hard for POG champions to push through. Whatever they do, they're going to have to do it very, very quickly when they plan to do it.
Bomb located by
Yeah, and it's also important to note, of course, that the 2 players down here below are Valkyrie and Mute, who both have a C4, and they could really do a lot of damage if POG champions decides to just let them stay down there.
But Sayo's not letting Shrimp stay alive. If he takes him out and Kronk takes out Russ, and more people are taking fights, and everyone's just going away, because now Sayo is down as well. We're in a 4v3 situation, assuming they don't get Sayo up. But it looks like they're actually going to do that as he just crawls away into the bathroom. I really doubt that they knew Sayo was down there. Again, in competitive, if you're not familiar with it, there are no points. There's no notifiers to let you know when you down somebody, when you kill somebody. All you'll know is if you kill somebody, you see a little thing disappear, and now it's a 5v4. But if you down somebody, you got nothing. You have to see it happen, and you have to check for it. They probably had no idea, so now they have to commit further. But they have Christmas control. He's out of there, and so is Cream. Cream is out of here as Nyx takes him out. That puts us to a 4v3 situation. Technically winnable for POG champions. Not going to be easy with only 20 seconds on the clock. They do have diffuser in hand, but they're going to have to get a little more aggressive. They need to get men down. But we have players going in. Players are still below, though. C4s are still in hand. Zip is getting this diffuser down. And lives are going away as Kronk takes out Sayo and Flixer. That puts us in a 3v2. Zip takes out Kronk. Diffuser's going back down. This is going to be a very hard situation. It does look like he's going to be able to get it. No, he's not, as they finish him off. That, again, rough, but still much better. Much better round from POG, for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like it might have been a really good idea for POG champions to just rotate over to Cocktail. The Nomad of Nyx was able to just swing in there and have Cocktail auto himself, while the Air Force Gaming remaining defenders were really focused towards Christmas and Cigar, where the initial push was coming from. So if they had been able to rotate at least the player with diffuser over to Cocktail, then things might have gone very differently there. But we saw that they lost the diffuser at first, I think, and then it was picked back up and tried to put down in a very awkward position there where there wasn't really much chance of safely covering that plant.
As many bombs as they can.
Now, we see this actually kitchen defense coming out now, and which is kind of a default second sight you'll see happen. So, let's see POG champions, let's see them get in here. That was a much closer round. They brought it down to a 2v2 with diffuser almost going down. I mean, it was very, very close. They almost had the diffuser down, which, had they gotten that, that probably, technically, considering, would have been a POG round. I mean, all they had to do then was hold on to site as the remaining defenders, had to do a full retake, which I'm assuming there were still a lot of Valkyrie cams up. I didn't notice if ones were getting shot. So they had a lot of information in their field, but either way, a retake is a retake, and a retake is not easy.
And we see a reinforcement there upstairs and a rotate made into dining to help these Air Force gaming roamers hold on to this top room, and even once they lose it, that rotate is going to make things very uncomfortable for POG champions to try to play in dining and try to open up angles to allow them to drop down in the freezer and get a plant if that's the take that they decide to go for.
Yeah, and that's also that freezer hatch, keeping that alive, keeping that up, you know, that can be a very strong thing to do. It's because you really want to get that full freezer control, assuming that's the side you want to do your attacking take on. So, keeping that alive with your guns can be a very risky, but very useful thing to do. So, the way they set it up, I definitely agree. I definitely feel. Now, we have players, I think they know where each other are. It looks like we see yellow pings coming out, but no one's really get anything off the other. But they're both still trying. Neither one is giving this up.
Yeah, we've got Flixer here outside the window, and he's got one player on the short stairs, Twisted, of the Valkyrie, and another player over in VIP, so he's got to really be careful and not get swung on by one while he's focused on the other, but we see Russ there get the opening kill on Twisted.
Yeah, and that's Russ' first kill for the game as he subs in for POG Champions, taking over on Boom's spot. Hopefully he can come in and make a pretty big impact, but they just missed somebody in the drone, but I'm sure they know exactly where he is, considering where that drone had to be shot from and everything else they'd already seen at that point. But again, Flixer, you know, he's having some trouble. He's trying to get in here. He has one drone left. He can still get some information. Red pings are coming out on these defenders, but they're still going to have to clear something out here. Man advantage is in their favor, but they still have to get more cleared out as they're trouble really getting through the site. They want that second floor control, but they're having trouble making it happen.
Yeah, we see them still all the way up on the third floor trying to get some vertical play going so that they can take the second floor, which, of course, then they're going to use to try and get vertical play onto the actual site. So to see them still at that point with 50 seconds left in the round is not looking too good for POG champions here. So they're probably going to need to turn up the aggression a little bit, try to turn things back in their favor, because if they don't, they're just going to run out of time here.
Especially if the score being equalized now, as we're back to a 4-4, of Flixer being gone, taken by Pizza Ton. And Flixer being gone like that, I mean, Flixer probably should have left that a long time ago if he wasn't going to do anything with it. He really stayed in that window, and he was not really contributing to his team at that point. They held him back in that window for so long. No matter what, that was a win for the defenders, even if he got a kill from it. Sayo, on the other hand, gets another kill as he takes out Nyx. So, this is another game. We're going really bad. We do have more kills coming out, but they're all getting traded again. Air Force playing for those trades. It's all up to Shrimp in this 1v3 situation. He doesn't have the diffuser. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have anything because he doesn't have the round. That goes to Air Force Gaming. Again, a solid round from Air Force. I want to see POG Champions speed it up and get more aggressive here.
Yeah, there's a perfect example of exactly what happens when you do a really good job of burning time and getting it to where the attackers don't have the map control they need at the time that they need it. We saw the POG Champions players realized just how low they were on time, realized that they needed to turn up the aggression like I talked about, and they ended up having to just run into angles that Air Force was completely ready for, and really made for some easy picks for Air Force.
Yeah, and again, those easy picks are really important to keep in mind. We've seen Aruni getting 6-pick to an Oryx, and while Aruni has been very popular since her introduction into the competitive scene, Oryx, his popularity's actually been gaining quite a bit. You know, from the very start, no one really picked him. Everyone said, you know, why would you bring him? He's not that useful. But now, especially on maps like this where he can jump through hatches, he can run straight through walls if he needs to get away, he can be pretty useful. And on a map like this where there's a lot of hatches, you can go from the first floor all the way to the third floor without touching a stair step very quickly. It makes sense, but it also makes sense to 6-pick it instead.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, and Cafe is already a map anyway with those balconies from the third floor to the second floor where it can really be a headache to try and flank watch. And we saw POG Champions bringing the Nomad earlier, now they're bringing the Gridlock, but it could really be tough to thoroughly cover things with that anti-flank and with your flank drones, and that Oryx is just going to make it even more difficult.
Yeah, now as we're currently 9-0 on the round scoreline, this is the round where I would expect POG Champions to get their first round win. Just as we said on Gym, on Clubhouse, this second floor is going to be a little bit harder to defend because all of the attackers really have to worry about clearing out is that third floor, for the most part, obviously in the very beginning, because they want to make holes above the second floor, and to do that, you need third floor control. Unlike with that first floor, you really, a lot of times, you're going to clear out that third floor and then clear out the second floor to get that full vertical control so you can make your holes. They're already having trouble, but they're getting in, and they're getting a look. This is good. This is what we need to see from them.
Yeah, some people would certainly argue that you could make the argument that reading is the best site on Cafe, but the fact that Air Force Gaming didn't go there until they were forced to go there by already winning the top floor and the kitchen is probably a pretty good sign that they don't feel it's their best site on Cafe. So we'll see if POG Champions can finally pick up around here.
Now, we do see default cams getting taken out, as Sile was currently, well, was on one. And these attackers are making their way through, but they do have defenders up here waiting for them, ready for these fights, ready to kill some time, ready to kill some people. So, these attackers are all getting in. We have a lot of these attackers in Christmas right now as they're pushing through, but their presence is known thanks to these proximity alarms. So they're going to have to go through and they're going to have to get very aggressive, but not aggressive enough, apparently, to scream things out next. So, a lot of drones are gone. POG is doing a much better job at droning. The problem is, they're not doing good enough because these drones are gone. I mean, if you look at Flix right now, he has none. Shrimp has 1. Ziv has none. Russ has 2. 4 people, 3 drones. But it's a 4-4. At least they got a kill for their time, I guess.
Yeah, and the big thing there is that all those drones are gone, but not very many members of Air Force Gaming are gone. So if you're going to lose your drones, you really need to get some map control, get some kills out of it.
Yeah, and a really important way to look at that is you play for trades. The way Air Force does with their bodies, you need to be doing when you're attacking, you need to do that with your drones. Your drone dies, someone on the defender side should die with it. You know, really play for that trade. Treat the drone like a person. But we're seeing POG do a better job at droning. They're using their drones, obviously, now, which we didn't see them doing so much on Clubhouse. They're doing it now. Problem is, they're just losing them and not making anything of it. Now, we see a potential very, very close interaction. These two players on the stairs, and it does happen. Flixer takes out Pizza. Pizza was definitely completely oblivious to Flixer's presence on the stairs. Now we see a rush coming through on the spawn, and it's working out in a weird way. And it's a 2v1. It's off to Flixer now to 1v2. He's got to come through, and he doesn't have the diffuser. He doesn't have time. Again, this is just a tell of the tape. This is what keeps happening all game. It's always in a 1vx situation. No time, no diffuser, no chance.
Yeah, and this is, again, just a perfect example of a team that really knows how to set up a really efficient defense to really efficiently burn the attacker's time, eat through the attacker's drones, and leave them in a situation where they don't have a lot of time, they don't have a lot of intel, and they have to just kind of push in blindly and get picked off one by one. We saw a great job by, I think it was Shrimp there, getting the trade on the laundry hatch drop, but then we saw another member of Air Force Gaming swing around and trade him right back out to make it a 1v2.
Now, interesting, we actually saw a knock 6-pick over to his offie. I'm sure they were trying to screw with him, considering we keep seeing Air Force bringing the Valkyrie, but I'm going to be real here. If you're going to 6-pick somebody to somebody and try to make some kind of impact, 6-pick to an IQ. You know, you see Air Force bringing so much intel. This is the same lineup that they brought last time. They did 6-pick from Castle, the Echo, but I mean, when you have this many cameras on the field, depending on how you play, the knock could have potentially been useful if you're not going to deal with the cameras or try to find them. But that IQ could be massive right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely not uncommon at all to see either Valkyrie or IQ banned on Cafe just because it's such a strong Valkyrie map. So Air Force is running Valk. They've been running Valk. I'm a little surprised, just like Trevor, to not see POG Champions make that adjustment and bring the IQ, or at least show the IQ and see if you could get Air Force to 6-pick off of that Valkyrie.
Yeah, and this is such a strong map for Valkyrie, sorry. And this is a really, really good map for, you know, peaks, for really aggressive plays, jumping out windows, jumping through doors, jumping everywhere just to get a free kill. And you have to expect Air Force probably to do it at some point, especially when they start going up on the rounds, because they did it on Clubhouse. Why would they not do it here? So, either way, though, we're getting into this round. We're on third floor again, and it's currently 3-0, currently 10-0 if you're counting every round we've seen played today. POG Champions have got to make something happen. They've got to pick up some steam.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah, and Z, could we see Kronk's point of view real quick? Because I notice he's been sitting on cams a lot, and I'm really curious to see where these cams are, if they have Valk cams that are really making a big impact, because I'd be surprised if they're not. We see one stashed away there in the Christmas tree. We saw another there, I think, on New Valk, and those could be absolutely huge for getting intel to give you some pretty easy kills up against a Christmas push.
Yeah, and it looks like Kronk is going to stay on those cameras as well, because he is currently off the board, so he doesn't really have much of a choice. And losing the yokai that early on, or the Echo, sorry, that early on, because he has control of those yokais, is going to be pretty big for stopping that plant, but that really hasn't been too necessary so far on these last two maps. Rush is taking a little bit of damage as they're trying to clear through Christmas now, trying to get this player out of this pistol corner, but he's moving up, and they don't realize it. This may get very, very aggressive, and it does. Sayo takes 2 for his time. He takes out Russ and Zim, because they don't expect him to move like that. Then he takes a 3rd, he takes out Shrimp. We're all of a sudden in a 4v2 situation because Sayo is allowed to do something he shouldn't be allowed to do.
Yeah, now we have Sayo with potential for an ace here after picking up the first 3 kills of the round.
And Fletcher's getting a kill. You know, he's taking somebody out. Nick's just gotten somebody. But we still have all these players up. Sayo's still up. He's going back up red stairs, I believe. And this is a situation, again, it's a 3v2. It's a close game. Man count's close. But look at these attackers. They're having trouble getting this map. And they know this defenders. We may see a run out right now. I would not be surprised if we see Twisted either just shoot through this window or just jump out and get a free kill. And it looks like he's waiting on side. Oh no, they have an attacker coming up. Sledge almost got a freebie, but again, that should have been a freebie. But there's the bout cam. And Sledge is going to keep working his way up.
Yeah, and a great job by Nix there. I'm assuming there's a drone there somewhere. Air Force still able to come out on top, but you could see the Nomad out on the rappel. He kept on kind of looking over at that white stairs window. It seemed like he was aware that somebody was there and might be hopping out any second, and then here comes the Sledge from below to get that kill. So probably some good drone work there by POG champions, but we obviously need to see some better drone work as they're still down 4-0.
Yeah, and you know, Korean picking up the last 2 kills that round on the Maestro, just playing cocktail with Yalda. You know, he was able to just hold an angle as they ran through the white stairs, just kind of hold the trigger down and take them out. Really got a couple freebies there, but you know, this is a situation where now POG champions, I said it last time, I'll say it again, I've said it a lot of times, generally on these defender side of maps, if you can get 2 rounds on your attacking half, that's kind of to be expected, that's kind of the norm. So POG champions really looking to get these next 2 rounds. They've got to win 1 kitchen attack, they've got to win 1 second floor attack, and they've got to win it. I mean, they've got to win something here. They've got to pick up something. Because right now, it seems like they're really, really dead energy-wise. Probably from that first game where it went 7-0 and going down all these rounds, I wouldn't be surprised. But Air Force, on the other hand, they've got all the energy in the world. They're just feeling it. They're just going through it, and they're just having fun.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and obviously a 7-0 loss can be a pretty crushing blow to the morale, but definitely hope to see POG champions bounce back a little bit here. Like Trevor said, they really, really need to pick up these last 2 rounds. You don't want to go into another 6-0 or 5-1 situation switching over to your defense.
No, you do not. That would be very, very bad, and that would be very, very just momentum killing as a whole, assuming any momentum you may have. But yeah, we got POG champions. Hopefully we're going to see them a little bit quicker on this room clear, because I don't believe we have any players on the defense side up on that 3rd floor. So as long as they use their drones properly, it shouldn't be hard for them to figure that out. It shouldn't be hard for them to get full 3rd floor control. They're going in. We do see drones coming out, thankfully. Getting in, going in very fast. This is what we need. Pick it up. Let's go faster. Let's just keep running through. Sonic the Hedgehog, however you want to do it. I don't care. Get going quick. They're going through it. They have top 4 almost completely cleared out to realize they've got it. But it doesn't matter because they're not really checking that 2nd floor. They're peeking angles they really shouldn't be peeking yet, as Twisted gets a freebie on Russ.
Yeah, I was going to say that this attack is looking a little better for POG champions from the start. Looked like a good adjustment, going immediately for that top-down clear and committing a lot to it after the roam clear was such a big problem for them the first time around attacking kitchen. But then Russ gets just a little careless and exposes himself to those short stairs, and I think it was Twisted there able to pick him off.
Yeah, so that opening kill for Air Force, I mean, that's really unfortunate. We do see yellow pings coming out as they seem to know exactly where somebody is, and they do, but no one loses their life for it, surprisingly. Nix and Sile both losing a lot of damage. I'm thinking they knew exactly where each other were, thanks to cams and drones coming out, and now they know where each other are again. Mostly Sile, he's definitely been found out, They're really trying to hunt him down. We have players down trying to pinch him out. And this is really good, but it works out for Sayo. They do manage to get the refrag, but Sayo should not have been able to get that at all. Nyx does get the refrag on him, takes him out finally, but man, Sayo got away with murder here.
Yeah, and once again, things aren't looking too good for POG Champions here as we see them down a man and finally started to get some map control, but they've only got about a minute to do some work on this floor. Fortunately for them, Shrimp was able to avoid that C4, but Cream able to get the kill on Ziv, and things are not looking good for POG Champions.
Now, I'd like to point out, Cream has been reading this whole time. He's been sitting there this whole time waiting for his opportunity to strike. They never droned it out. They never realized that, and he got a freebie because of it. He is still up here. He's still reading. They're trying to flank on him. Hopefully they can get that flank. Hopefully they can make something happen. It doesn't look like that's what they're about to do, and they do. Nyx takes him out. That's Nyx's second kill for the round. It's a 3v2 situation now, but 15 seconds. Again, they're just now getting the fuser. I said it last time. I'll say it again. This is not good for them. They're down the man count. They're down people. One person, just Shrimp. 1v3x situation. Has a diffuser, doesn't have time, doesn't have map control, isn't in sight, has no opportunity because he doesn't have time to get in there. Round's over. That's a 5-0 currently for Air Force Gaming.
Yeah, and so now I'm sure we'll see them go back to the reading defense here, and POG Champions really needs to pick up this round, or they might be in danger of getting back-to-back 7-0s.
Yeah, man, POG Champions really got to pick up some steam here. They really got to make something. This is really gut-wrenching to watch because POG Champions is a solid team. I know they are. I've seen them play and I've seen them do good. So it's really hard to watch this happening. But hopefully here, this final round, they say, screw it, let's throw caution to the wind. We got to do something. But I'm willing to bet we're going to see Air Force probably throw a little caution to the wind too, as that's what we saw them do last time when they went up on a massive man advantage. They just kind of started getting more and more aggressive, and it really hurt POG Champions. I would not be surprised to see them get very aggressive on this final defensive round.
Yeah, definitely got a feel for POG Champions here. Both these teams have always seemed like a very solid group of guys, and you don't want to see anybody out like this. So nice to see POG Champions bounce back a little bit, but definitely agree, like Trevor said, this could be the time if you're Air Force Gaming to get even more aggressive and look to really our throats. Don't give them any hope to claw. And when you're really getting beat down like this and can't win a single round, it can a lot of times be easy to kind of go into a shell and get a little too timid and passive, which really honestly of what you need to do. You need to approach everything confidently in this game. Being confident at every go to is absolutely huge, and so being down 5-0 after taking a 7-0 loss is going to make it very difficult to keep that confidence up. And we do see Scion go for a small peak right off the bat there, but POG Champions were ready for it, and they weren't able to get the kill, but they were able to do some damage and avoid losing any lives themselves.
Yeah, it's just as I mentioned, Air Force, they go up like this, they're going to start getting aggressive and see if they can close it out quick, and really just keep the momentum of POG Champions. That's what we saw Scion FRS over here doing, and he really just got really aggressive on that start, and he ends up losing some damage for it, but he didn't lose a life. So all in all, it's not a bad trade. And now the players of POG Champions probably going to be a little about spawn peaks, but it doesn't really matter too much as they're on the roof, but they're also off the roof because there goes Nyx. Twisted gets a freebie on that one, and man advantage in the way of Air Force. Once again, that seems to be the tale of this entire game, as we're also losing some drones.
And the drone economy is getting a little rough for POG Champions here, as they're now down 3 drones as they lose Shrimp there. He did have his out on the map though, so hopefully it's pre-placed somewhere that it can still be useful to those dead players.
Yeah, and once again, getting shot around from that new balk on that lower second floor side, I mean, that's really unfortunate. That's not what we want to see happen. And Shrimp gets creamed. So either way, it's 3v3. This is POG's best chance. 3v3. Equal man advantage. Try to get some control, but again, they peeked it. Why? Don't peek that right now, guys. You just lost someone there. Cream, again. Cream someone else. That's another play off the board. We lose Russ. It's all up to Ziv and Flixer. I mean, you've got to know someone's there. You don't have to peek that. You don't need to peek that right now. Make holes, which is what we see them doing now. Make these holes. Terraform this map. Take control of things, but take control of what you need to start. They're losing players. Now they're down this man count. They almost get a freebie on the Kronk, but not quite. And instead, Kronk gets a freebie on him, and now we're in a 1vx situation with Diffuser in hand, with no real sight control. He's just going to get aggressive here. He's just going to drop down and try to take a play. This person hard on his right. He doesn't get the shot on him. He just barely misses it. He starts taking a lot of damage, and there he goes. Pizza gets a freebie, takes out Ziv. And that's another round. It's another 6-0 split for Air Force Gaming, currently up 12-0. If they win one more round, that's the game.
Yeah, and we see Nick's there in chat asking for a knife fight, so that's a pretty good sign of how much hope they're feeling there on POG Champion's side of things. But that was a huge C4 kill there for Kronk. Even though POG Champions were already down in the man count, things were looking pretty okay for them at that point as they were starting to get to work on the vertical play. Hopefully they had some flank drones up that they could let their dead players watch, and they still had a pretty good amount of time. But then once Kronk got that C4 kill, it went from, you know, pretty tough hill to climb to pretty much impossible.
Yeah, and now we see them go to that third foresight, we're getting a mute on the board, whatever, 6 pick from an Ella, and POG needs to hurt
Attackers need
Air
to
Force.
locate
Their
and
only
defuse
option
next
here right
bombs
now
if they
is to
can.
hurt Air Force mentally. To try to get into their head, to try to do something. Try to kill that momentum. They need to think to Air Force mentally.
Attackers in location of a bomb.
They've really got to pull something out here because they need to get some early kills. They need to get something. Screw with them. Just slow them down, because I bet we're about to see Air Force go super stupid aggressive as they are currently up 13-0 right now. Looking to make a flawless 14-0, 2-0 situation to push themselves to the finals. POG Champions is 1 round loss away from not going to the finals. Air Force is 1 round win away from going to the finals next weekend.
Yeah, and be really nice to see POG Champions at least pull out a few here. It's definitely disappointing to see them go down like this after they've had such a solid season and been such a fun team to watch.
Yeah, this is really painful to watch. Again, yeah, I really enjoy POG. I really enjoy watching them. I love the people on the team. They have great energy, great personalities. They are blast to watch. They're doing great this season. I mean, they've had some really solid wins on their side, but this is just not good. This is not really in character. I want to start off by saying we have mentioned more once, but this is also just, it sucks, man. And I don't know if Flixer realized there was another drone on that top red. He looks like he was looking away from it and might not have seen him, but now he does see the drone as it sees him again. And there's actually drones currently with him in Cigar, and they do see him. But I mean, what we see right now is Air Force getting control of things they need very quickly, repelled on things they need right on time, and opening everything up. This is a meta take from Air Force versus a not meta defense from POG Champions. But POG Champions does get one for their time as Flixer takes out Kronk. Losing the Twitch, great. There goes the F2, but also there goes Flixer.
Yeah, and once again, just a great job of supporting each other, refragging each other there from Air Force Gaming. They lose one, but able to trade it right back and keep the man count even and work towards getting the map control they need in order to execute onto this site.
Yeah, we do see them now actually clearing out the shield, and clearing out the shield very quickly. So that's that player. He's pushed back to the bathroom, and they know it. So they have Christmas control, and they're just pushing straight through Christmas, I might add. They're going straight up to the bathroom. They're going to push this fight on him very fast and very aggressively as Ziv tries to push back, which I believe was the right play. You got to get aggressive there, but it doesn't matter. It didn't work out for him as Kareem takes him out. Nix gets the refrag on Twist. It puts us in 3v3. POG needs to get some kind of man advantage here. Nix is coming back. He's going to try to push this fight back. He's going to try to help his friends, and he's going to have to do it very fast as they're going down. There goes Russ. It's all up to Trip and Nix trying to hold on to this game, trying to hold on to the hopes of the finals. They need to take these last 3 players out. Nix is ready. He's right here on this person. He's right here on him, and he gets a freebie on the Kareem. That's a 2v2. This is a winnable round right now for POG. But these players at Air Force, they're setting a lot up. And they're taking lives out with him. It's all up to Nix. He's going to clutch this round out. He's already taken some people down, but he's got to take some more down. He doesn't. He doesn't take anything down. 14-0 for Air Force Gaming as Sayo gets the final kill of that round.
Yeah, great effort there from Nix. I was wondering if his position was known down there in Hell watching that new Balk, and obviously it wasn't. He was able to get a kill there, and then I thought he was going to go run right back up the red stairs, which would have been a very predictable play, and I thought it would probably be suicide, and then He made a smart adjustment there, went up white instead. He was patient, got a pretty free kill there onto Buck, and was almost able to bring things back for his team. But just obviously a dominant performance there for Air Force Gaming, back-to-back 7-0s, and they will move on to the finals to face Alps Gaming.
Yeah, so give us a second here. We're going to pull someone over from Air Force Gaming for an interview, and we'll be right back.
You lift me off of the ground. I close my eyes and I wait for the come down. I used to live in the now. Now I'm wiser to think that we are bulletproof. Teens with thicker skin, now we just bruise. We were hopeless and we're hopeless now, but I remember we threw our face in the air singing. I remember when we were kids, never scared, yeah. And the sky went dark, we used our hearts to guide us. You showed me you care, and I remember, yeah, I remember. Now, but
All right, we are back. We're currently with Scion and Twisted from Air Force.
Great, man.
Yeah, we're riding the high. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Yeah, that was dominant performance there. Congratulations. And so we'll see you guys moving on to face Alps Gaming in the final. You guys have already faced them once this season. You were able to take a 7-5 win on. Last night after their win, they talked about they were hoping to end up getting up because they could have a shot at revenge. How do you feel about that matchup?
Oh, we're excited. We're always down for a good.
Right, man, and I've got to ask, usually I ask, what do you feel like you're going to take it? I hate to sound super negative to POG. I don't want to ask that. Instead, what would you like to say to POG that you would like to see them take away from?
Definitely just want to commend them for making it as far as they did, like they said, purely off no strats and aggression. Just
Yeah,
they made it all the way to the semis, dude. That's good on them for. I mean, I think I saw in a chat that they were together last season, so they have chemistry and stuff. They just haven't like laid out any strats or anything. But to make it as far as they did, based off basically just kind of playing it like it's ranked, having like and being very aggro, they made it they played very, very well.
Yeah, definitely impressive to see them make it this far, and it's been them play. So, of course, congratulations to you guys, but it still obviously kind of sucks to see anybody get row, but it's still very impressive for them to make it this far and to have such a good season here in HydroCore, especially like you said, going off of just kind of winging it, running defaults, adjusting on the fly, and working purely off of that chemistry.
but so I would like to ask you, instead of talking about POG, I want to talk about you guys. So, how are you guys feeling after you exited map 1 in a 7-0? Now, I didn't see you guys. Usually, it seems like once you went up about 5-0 on the round count, you started getting really, really aggressive and really trying to get early kills. Was that just kind of like trying to get mental? You felt like you're already in there, tear him down further, or was that just like something you're planning to do anyways?
Go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, and like before we started the game, we we knew that like this is semi. We knew that they play like ranked. We know that they didn't really have a structured strategy. They just kind of did the base, and so we figured that they would be playing aggressive. So match aggression with aggression towards the end there. Like we were already up a couple of rounds, like 4 5-0. So like, if like we don't really have on defense, so yeah, just matching aggression with aggression seemed to work, especially since we were already up. Probably we're in their heads a little bit, so definitely helped out.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with such a big league, getting even more aggressive and taking advantage of the fact that they're feeling too confident at the moment is definitely a strategy that can really pay off. Is there a player on your team that you guys feel like would be deserving of an MVP title for this game?
What do you think, Son?
I mean, we all play.
Yeah,
Honestly,
kind of hard.
this
It was a very
like,
good team game.
yeah, these 2 games alone, I will say, when like everyone played. Usually we have like 1 or 2 guys that are like struggling every game, but like this game, every single person stepped up. Everyone played well. Everyone for this game alone. It's hard to say.
Big team win. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, one thing I
huge.
do.
Good.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Oh.
sorry, good.
One thing I do want to commend you guys on was playing for trades. We saw that it really seemed like if you lost one, it wasn't very long that you took one. And especially in the situation where you were pretty consistently up a man, it seemed like it was never much of a time frame between you would lose one, but then you would just take one out, which you could just snowball through. So I really have to commend you guys. You did a great job on the playing for trades there. On just you lose when you take one, and you always start ahead. So playing for trades, you guys are always going to win in the end when you start with like you typically did.
Yeah, thank you. We focused a lot on playing off of each other very well the last like week or two, so that just reflected in game and worked out great for us.
Absolutely. Well, Trevor, unless you have anything, is there anything that you guys would like to say before we go here?
Now we're just excited to have made it this far and hope to play well again in the championship. And
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you guys get that rematch up.
thank you.
All right. Well, from Air Force Gaming, as they just secured a 14-0 win against POG champions in the semifinals of a great job to those guys. And now, next weekend, we're going to see them in the finals against Alps Gaming, which again will be a rematch. We did see, I believe it was Alps lost to Air Force, or they won against Air Force.
Air Force 175 on, and of course, at the time they were known as AUG Esports. Alps Gaming has now been picked up by an org, so big congratulations to those guys on that. On top of course, congratulations on making it to the finals. So really looking forward to seeing that matchup, seeing that.
Yeah, it's awesome to see AUG Esports get picked up by, and then right after get picked up, their very first game with the org, they go to a final. I mean, that's got to be a good feeling. It's got to look good on them, you know. So that's gonna be really fun. I am very excited to see it. These are 2 very solid, kind of obviously speaking. I mean, they both made it to the finals, so these are 2 very, very solid teams. Making it to this final situation, I believe this is going to be a very, very good game. Next weekend is actually going to be a best of 5. So either team, is going to need to win 3 in order to win the whole thing, and only get to ban 1 map. So this is very interesting, potential long day for these 2 teams. And one thing that's going to be worth noting is who's going to have enough to make it through as well.
Yeah, and one thing that's really interesting about a best of 5, obviously we saw the map ban tonight and tonight when it's a best of 3, you only get a chance to ban 1 map absolutely do not want to go to. In a best of 5, it can really put you to the test on having a deep map pool because you don't get to ban anything before the other team gets to pick their first map.
Yeah, and that makes a massive difference. A lot of people say best of 1s don't say a lot for competitive integrity to really say who's a better team. Best of a lot. Best of 5s really is. I mean, you're going to so many rounds, so many rounds to really establish who the better team is. Either way, would be a time and date set for that grand finals, we will get it posted straight away on Twitter, and we'll have everything shown out there. Discord, if you want to type in chat, I believe it's exclamation point Discord. You'll get a link following our Discord. You can keep up with a lot of news there as well. Today's game, that is a final semifinals game, Hydrocore League 2. Before we move on to the finals, I'm Flaring,
I'm Spilling Villain.
and it's been great casting for you guys today. We'll see you next weekend.